So good morning, everyone. This is going to be part 3 of our social media little training, and Rocio is going to kick us off today with a hashtag workshop, and they're going to open it up for Q&A from some of the awesome social media gurus that are in our group. So I'm going to turn it over to Rocio.
Perfect. I'm going to share my screen real quick. And let's see. Perfect. Can you see that okay? Let's start here. Perfect. Thank you. So I love social media and how powerful it is as a tool for business. So I want to share with you just some basic things that I've learned. I am part of this membership that I shared with you about, and basically I copied and pasted things that I thought would be helpful for us specifically to dive into. So I'm gonna just go for it. Hashtags, a way to search Instagram to find what you're looking for. Yes, they can also be used on Facebook, but just for the sake, I'm going to focus on Instagram. So, interesting. Okay, there we go. There's no such thing as the right hashtag. I've been looking for my right hashtags for a very long time. And I just kind of just threw that up in the air, just like let that go, because we're never going to find the specific hashtags that are working for our ideal clients because there's no tracking for it. So, but the way that you could, we'll go into that later. So I'm going to stick to my slides here. The key is to use a mix of hashtags that will keep your account discovered. So we're going to talk about 3 things: searchable terms, location searches, and geographic searches as well. So I'm going to move that here. So searchable terms, this will comprise the majority of hashtags you'll use. In order to understand your searchable terms, what they are, because they're different for everyone, you got to put yourself in your ideal client's shoes. So you got to think and like position yourself to put yourself in their shoes and think, what are they searching for? What do they need help finding? Like, what do they need? So I wrote 3 examples that I got. And so let's just say for fitness professionals. So you can use searchable terms like fitness workout, body fitness, and fit fam, right? They all fall under the umbrella of fitness professional. If you're a baker, you could use cupcake recipe cupcakes instead of like cupcakes of Instagram. I can't even say this one, cupcakesagram, and buttercream as an ingredient. So you think of your person and then you break it down to, okay, they like to bake, what recipes would they use and what ingredients would be in there. So for yourself, you can think about who your ideal client is and what you're searching for. So if you're looking for somebody who is looking for weight loss, then you got to put yourself in their mind and think, what are they searching for? What do they need help with? And so you go weight loss program, and then you can think of, wherever that leads you to. It just allows you and gives you permission to search deeper than just weight loss. And so everybody can search weight loss, but what is your ideal client specifically looking for? And I'm talking about your ideal client as like, yes, we want to help people and serve people, but it's helpful when you have specific people in mind. And so like when I go live on Facebook and on Instagram, I always have somebody in mind that I'm talking to. One, because it helps me focus on what my attention, who my attention is on, but it also helps me focus on the words that I'm speaking about specifically. So we should have an ideal client, not to say that. So if Lori is my ideal client, then let's say she wasn't on program, of course, but I would put myself in her shoes and be like, okay, she's a mom, she's a daughter, she's got a daughter and a son, she lives in San Diego, she loves taking walks, and she loves self-help. So I know those things about her, and you could think about somebody in particular, or you can make somebody up. Who's my ideal client? Do they live? Where do they live? What do they like? What roles do they play in family, in their life in general? So anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next one here. So location searches. This is for people searching for things, photos specific to a certain location. These are especially powerful to get discovered in your local area. If you're working from a local coffee shop, of course, we're not these days, but we will, or bookstore, why not hashtag it? So I work at a variety of different places. I'm a life coach outside of being a health coach. And so a lot of times I coach my clients at the beach. Well, I did. And so we would meet over at in Carlsbad. And so I would use the different Carlsbad beach hashtags, because if someone was just doing a search on Carlsbad beach, then they would see a picture of, that I posted, and then I could get discovered that way. So let's just say examples. If you're a fitness professional, searchable locations might be the location of where you train clients. Like I said, I would hashtag Carlsbad Beach, or an event location where you'll train private clients. So you could use a specific location like a gym, or you could use a location like a park, so Griffith Park. I have two other examples here just to break it down some more. So searchable location terms might be the shopping center, your store in, sorry, I read that wrong. Anyway, it could be the shopping center. So the Grove in LA is a really big one. So if you focus on that, like if I've got a bakery shop at the Grove, I would hashtag the Grove LA. Or I could do another one of the OC Fair and say I did a pop-up shop, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna go ahead and be there for the fair. You could use that fair's hashtag, because people are gonna be searching for that too. So I do have a third example, but I'm gonna have you read those if you'd like to join in on that later. Geographic searches. This term is for people searching for business based in a city or a state. So this can get tricky because some people search for locations myriad of ways. So for example, this is again coming from the gal who wrote this. So she's a wedding photographer and branding photographer. And so when she hashtags weddings that she's done in New York, she uses a mix of geographic references. So for instance, New York, so NYC, wedding photographer is what she would use, or New York City, specifically written out, wedding photographer, NY, wedding photographer. So you break it down to, I always do, I think of one hashtag, and then I think, how else can I break it down? When you do write hashtags, it's pretty cool, because if I start writing, let's say gluten-free, then other gluten-free topics will be brought up for me. And so that can extend what I'm looking for. So it would show things that I've never considered adding to as a hashtag. So she says, I also same geographic searches to variations other word photographer, as it could be searched for photography, photo, and photos. So again, you're just going off, you pick one word, and then you kind of just do like an umbrella, or like one of those word maps, so those word searches. In other terms, your terms can be California wedding photographer, state specific, and or San Diego wedding photographer. So those are things that you can think of if one of the things that I did was being a life coach in San Diego. I put San Diego life coach San Diego. And so for people who are searching for a life coach, that might be something that they're looking for. But then I'm going to dive even deeper into, like, maybe it's confidence coach. And I just allow myself the freedom to go in deeper. How do I know which hashtags my customers are looking through? The good bad news is that, you know, it comes in time. So the more you test hashtags, the more confident you'll be in knowing which ones you're reaching for your ideal customer, your dream customer. The key is to think like your customers. So again, you got to put yourself in their brain of what are they searching for. But before that, we got to figure out who our ideal clients are. It's so important that we know, so that we know how to communicate. If they are fun and spunky and they use emojis all the time, we want to do that too. I'm just me, and then I add in things and references that my ideal client would like. Like I mentioned last time, I'm not a book reader. I love books. I've got stacks of them, want to read them. If my ideal client is a reader, then I would bring that in some way, somehow, to connect with them. So put yourself in their shoes. What are they searching for? What do they find helpful? Do they want to be inspired? Some people don't care for that, but some people do. I'm a positive person, so I'm always going to put something inspiring out there. How can you make their lives better? We want to add value to their lives, right? Can you speak to them and create content so they know, like, and trust you? This is the goal with our social media posts. They have to get to know us, and then they gotta like us, and then they have to know that they can trust us. And so that with the consistency that everyone always talks about, that's what we're doing. We naturally are putting ourselves out there, especially for people that we're just getting to know and just getting to know us, is that we create this safe place to really, for them to really get to know us. So we want them to know us, like us, so that they can trust us to lead them and guide them into their health journey. So answer these questions and think of hashtags that can empower them to discover your Instagram account. So when you put yourself in their shoes and you think about all these questions, then that really empowers you to know how to move forward in your posts. So I wanted to keep it short and sweet because I know that there's a lot of information out there, and I don't know if I had posted up earlier, but if you have no idea, I'm not going to assume anybody and everybody knows how to do the hashtag, but it's simple, that £, and then adding a word that people can then search through and for. So if you're on Instagram, Jasmine Star is somebody that I follow for free tips and tricks on social media and business. And she just speaks from the heart. And she's just really empowered me in the last 2 years to find my voice and my confidence of who I am, so that way I can better communicate who I serve and how I can love others. So that's it for me, and I would love to know if anyone has any questions, and also I'm going to stop share here. If anyone has any questions, I haven't looked in the chat or anything, but Kylea, let's jump to you.
I have a question. I use hashtags when I post things, because it was just kind of like follow leader type of thing, but I've never actually searched hashtags for myself. I've never used that option. How do we do that?
How do you search them before you put them in your phone? Like as you're going to put them in your phone, or as someone just looking?
As someone I posted yesterday, I was looking for recommendations for flooring, and like what vinyl plank or tile or things like that. If I'm searching for something in my area, how would I go about that?
Yep.
So I can think more like
Great
a customer.
Question. So perfect. If you are on Instagram, one of my clients, I'm not going to show you who she is, but she's looking great. On the very bottom, there's a magnifying glass. It's the second little icon down below. So when you're there, it will bring this up. And basically, whenever you press the magnifying glass, it'll show you things that that Instagram thinks you want to see. So I always have like positive quotes. I always have something creative and typography and all this stuff, right? So on the very top of that, above
Doodles.
like the top part, it says search doodles. Yeah, see? Yep, me too.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the very top, there is a search bar. So why don't you click on, let's say you posted you were looking for, I'm just going to ask since a lot of people didn't see, what kind of flooring are you looking for? Like tile or wood?
Anything but
What do you
carpet.
think?
Yeah. Vinyl
Okay,
plank
yeah,
or
I
tile,
definitely
something
gathered
similar.
that.
Not anything but carpet.
Okay, so a client, you as a client, or you as just somebody looking for an idea, something to search, you could put tile, flooring, and then the city you live in, because maybe there's someone local that can help you. So when you do that, what comes up? Do you see, let's see, what did you put in? Maybe we can all follow your train of thought.
I put in luxury vinyl.
Okay. So you can look at luxury vinyl, and then you can also look up luxury vinyl and then your city, because if there's a business owner who's doing this in the way that we just spoke about, they are using, this is what my client's going to look for in this city. So that's a great question.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And so play with it. I think it's
see,
really important. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Just on that where it says tags next to it. Do you see how when you go and you start to type and stuff, it says top accounts and then tags? I just wanted to make sure people saw that. So the tags is the third category. You could click that and see all the hashtags used for luxury vinyl. And then there's 11,000 posts. So, I mean, there's a lot to go through for that, Kyla.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Tons of stuff. And it even under luxury vinyl, I still got dogs. So, Instagram knows me.
And listen, when you're, Emily, that's a good point. When you start looking for your hashtags, keep in mind that it's kind of like playing the lottery. If only 5 of us play the lottery, we have more chances to win, right? But if 5 million of us are playing, our chances are, why play? So when you're looking for, when you start writing down your hashtags, it's so good to go to the next step and see how many people are following that hashtag. Because if you have 5 million people following like a specific hashtag, they're really not going to see you. But if you maybe add an S at the end, maybe it does go down to 500, which is so much better than 5 million. But those are the things we want to search for. So Emily, that's a great point. That would be the next best step to do is, okay, if I look up tile design, there's 361,000 posts. But if I look up tile shower, there's only 92,500. And if I look up, you want to just find hashtags and get creative that aren't a huge number so that you can be found, because this is a searchable engine. People are looking for, if it's a new hairstyle, they're going to specifically write hairstyle or short hairstyle, short bob. They're going to look into more and more details of what they're looking for.
And also on that, Rocio, like they will, if they type in, let's say weight loss, for instance, if they hashtag weight loss, if they see that there's 876,000 posts in weight loss, the chances of them clicking on that are small. So that's what she's saying, is that they're going to start to look down like weight loss San Diego or weight loss transformation coach. They're going to look at the hashtags that have smaller posts because they don't want to go through 876,000 posts. So as they kind of scroll, and this is for people that have the mindset of searching hashtags, they're going to search the hashtag that speaks the most to them, that has the smallest amount of posts, so they don't feel overwhelmed. So that's why don't feel afraid to get unique with your hashtags, because as you keep going, if they see an awesome, weight loss real story San Diego, and then there's 150 posts, they're going to click on it because they're like, oh, I can go through 150 posts. Like I can do that. And then everything they see is yours. Does that make sense?
Love that. Tracy, you had your hand up. Did you want to ask something?
No, you kind of just answered it, and it just had to all come together. So we just have to get in there with our good postings so that it brings them to us through that hashtag. So not too, never mind, I got it. It all came together. Just can't explain it. Because I've never used hashtags before. So, I mean, I use them, but I don't know how, like Kylea, I don't know how does it all fit together, you know? So when people see us on Facebook with the hashtag, then where are they searching that? Are they going to Instagram to search that?
Facebook is a whole nother thing. I haven't explored so much on Facebook because hashtags were very, very, very predominant in Instagram. And it's very much now coming back to Facebook. So it's not something that I use. I will look into it, and then, you know, I can post something about that and what I find. But with all the training that I've done, it's been very heavy on Instagram, since it's a known search engine. Facebook is more of the connection. Instagram is very much a search engine for, I'm looking to get healthy. And so you can even, you know, like the phrase, the quarantine 15 and the COVID-19, these are what people are hashtagging because they're gaining the 15 and the 19. They're already expecting it. So what you can do is even write those down or think about that phrase and how to break it down. Like, don't want to gain quarantine 15. I don't know if that's out there, but it probably is. And people are searching those things or hashtagging it because it's real life right now.
So do you think that people
quite a bit on hashtags are used quite a bit on Twitter too? So that's where
yes,
Instagram both started. So like I've used it a lot more on Twitter, looking for stuff to follow, like especially when we're watching playoff games in sports or whatever. So it's
very much.
Yeah. So Facebook isn't that much, but it's still enough where people are still starting to do it. So
I've got a question. So if you hashtag something on Instagram, you're only going to see that show up on Instagram. Are they like all separate entities, like the hashtag within Twitter, the hashtag within Instagram? Or is it that like you go to Google and you could type in hashtag whatever and other things pop up? So it's just within each entity, they're separate?
Yeah, you could hashtag something and Google it. I mean, that's definitely an option, but a lot of people have their specific platforms that they like to use. I have a Twitter account. I can't tell you the last time I used it because it's not what I use, but it is. So my searchable thing is going to be on Instagram because it's just a known thing. I don't know if people even realize that that's like the other Google.
Yeah. Each platform wants you to stay in that platform. So Instagram wants you to stay in Instagram. Facebook wants you to stay in Facebook. So if you search a hashtag in Facebook, the only posts that are going to show up are within Facebook. Same with Instagram. I don't know about Twitter. Gayla might want to talk more on Twitter, but actually that might open up a whole can of worms. But I don't personally use Twitter.
I just follow stuff. Like I've got a few bands, you know, music, because my husband and I like going to concerts and some other stuff, and it's a lot, and like that is more of like following celebrities and things like that and seeing what they say daily and nonsense. So, but I have not used it, nor would I ever use it to work this business. So it's kind of like, you know, so that's just like almost my news source if I even want to look at anything negative or whatever. But you know, so yeah, but that's where the hashtags, that's where you're going to see it most, and that's why I brought it up. But Instagram and Facebook, stick with that.
Annie, thank you for looking up Orlando's hashtag. It's not a surprise what he wrote, and I'm sure he wants this attention because that's why he put it out there.
I just
Orlando,
made it up.
Look, you just found your own hashtag. If you have all your clients follow it, then you'll know that those are your people. Or if anybody ever looks at it and follows you, they're your new clients.
I did have a serious question. Doesn't my hair look great today? I got a haircut.
I was just going to say, I don't believe it.
No,
Get
I did,
off.
seriously, I do have one question. Is it important to go live through Instagram for algorithms like it is in Facebook, or not really?
I think it's very important. It's very important because it's the same thing that people are looking more at stories, because it's an endless thing. It's like a, I don't know, like reality TV in a real time of people you follow, because it doesn't stop. And a lot of times it's fun when you go on when you go live, both on Facebook and Instagram, it'll pop up and say, Rocio is on, now on live, or Rocio's live, whatever it says. And it captures the attention of, oh, cool. Like, it's a pop-up. So I know that even if I'm reading something, I'm like, oh, I'm really into it, but it pops up that Kylea's on live. Cool. I know her. Like, what's she up to? And then I forget what I'm doing over here. And so it refocuses the attention of someone who is just wandering in their own world. And so it's definitely go for it, and don't be afraid of it. Even if, like, I goofed the other day because I did something and it was just funny, and then I just kept rolling with it. And then Kylea was online and I called her out to join me live on Instagram, and so she and I were having a conversation in front of the whole world. And it was just, going live is fun because it captures, like, it distracts people. I mean, it doesn't distract them from what they're doing, but when it pops up, it's like, ooh, Lori's online. She's never online. What's she talking about? Oh, she's cooking again. She's making that pizza. We all love that pizza crust. So it's funny how many people now are like, oh, I love your garden. This and that. Like, now that I'm touching base with a lot of my friends, and I didn't realize that, like, I posted as much of my garden, but people definitely know that I have my succulent garden, in which to give you hope that I killed my first one. So now that I have a full garden outside, there's hope for all y'all. Tracy, I see your hand up too.
Yeah, how do you go live on Instagram?
Good question. So while you're there, yeah. So go to your Instagram page, like you're gonna post. You'll see your name on top and then your picture. If you click on your picture and then click on the little picture on the left, top hand left, whatever. I did a story, so I have to click on the little icon on the left, which is my image. But you'll see that this pops up, right? Like, whatever, you'll see your face or whatever's in front of you. If you scroll on the bottom, you see where it says normal, and to the left of it says create. And then if you scroll some more, it'll say live.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm just here on my profile, so I lost you.
Okay, click on your picture. Sure, click on your picture.
Uh-huh. And then it goes to this camera, no?
Perfect. See down below, oh, is it the camera? It's live, right? Like, it's showing what's in front of you?
Yes.
Okay.
It says live story at the bottom.
Live story. Does everyone else? Mine still just says live. Does anyone else say live story? Okay, so it just says live.
Tracy,
Do you see that?
Tracy, when you're on the camera, like it's just live, go down to the bottom and scroll. There's all kinds of different things, different categories. It's to the far left for live.
So there's a white words on the very bottom in the center.
There.
It says live story. Is that the same thing?
Live, right? Like right there.
I don't have a live story,
I have
but if you press, I mean, it'll be worth pressing and trying it out and be like, I don't know what this is, but I want to just check it out, and see who pops up. Like, have fun with it. People are like, I goofed the other day because I went live pressing one of those things that Kylea does with the questions that pop up in your head. And I just rolled with it. I was like, whatever. But it's a different platform than Facebook, but people are definitely on there. Yes, Chris, I've seen your hand up there, and then I'll go to you, Raymond.
Stories and putting hashtags in the story. So how,
Yeah.
I know y'all talked about that. So how does that come into play? I guess when somebody views the story, that'll actually be part of that hashtag.
So if Emily like blew my mind when she showed us about the hashtags in your stories. So you can put 10 hashtags. So it's as if you're gonna write something, you know, like write a caption, you could use that specific place to write 10 hashtags. And then if you want to do another 10 hashtags, then you pretend you're gonna do another caption and then you type 10 more. What happens is when you press send, people go back, anybody who's doing the search, like we looked earlier at tags, the tag search. If I'm looking up tile, luxury tile, and Kylea posted that, when I click to look at, who's posted about luxury tile, hers would pop up there. So not only does your story pop up, but any posts that you pop up as well will come. So people looking for help, I'm gaining weight, you know, hashtag help I'm gaining weight. If you post that, then you specifically will be found by that person who's looking up that tag. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. Raylan, did that answer any questions for you, or do you have anyone?
I have a few questions here. You know, when you're talking about searching hashtags, do you ever search hashtags to find people that could be potential customers or clients, I mean? Do you know what I mean?
You could. Yeah, you totally could do that. Emily, you're shaking your head. Did you want to jump on that? Oh, sorry. I saw you nodding your head.
Yeah, I mean, you could do either way. You could search for potential customers that way, but chances are if somebody's searching the hashtag, it's because they're looking for weight loss, therefore they're not hashtagging weight loss. Does that make sense? So you're probably not going to be able to find potential customers that way because they're not hashtagging weight loss on their posts unless they're already on a weight loss journey.
Yeah.
So it would be difficult to find potential customers that way. So really you just want to use it as like potential customers find you through their search engine constantly. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. So if somebody, do we work the post, the likes the same? Like if somebody likes your post on Instagram, do you go in and message them and follow them, or what do you do with those?
You absolutely can. You can use Instagram stories as a way. Typically what I do, because I know Instagram can get confusing with all the messaging and Facebook, is if I have somebody that likes my post and I don't know them, and I think they might be interested in weight loss or whatever, I'll like their page, I'll start following them, I'll comment on a few things, and then typically what I do personally, but you don't have to do this, I go find them on Facebook. Because normally they're linked, or I'll ask like, are you on Facebook too? I'd love to connect with people on all social media platforms. Then I'll get their Facebook, I'll go over there, I'll friend them on Facebook and keep my conversations going there. Because I personally try to keep all conversations on one platform, otherwise it's way too confusing. But you can still use Instagram as a way to find them and then find them on Facebook.
Okay.
That also, you can see on both Facebook and Instagram stories who is seeing and watching your story. I don't know if that's too in-depth for you guys right now, but you can actually like click on your story, and when you're watching your own story, see at the bottom the list of people that have seen it and how many there are. If you click on that, it'll actually, you can pull up like insights and see if people like fast forwarded through your story, or if they swipe to skip your story. Like you can see a lot of those things. It's like I said, it's pretty in depth, maybe too much. We want to keep it kind of basic, but it is neat to see who's continually watching your stories for like weeks or days, and maybe then reaching out and saying, hey, I see that you sent a heart on my story, or you've been following, how have you been doing? Things like that are interesting.
Okay.
I do love the
awesome.
stories because when you go live, You can go ahead. I'll remember. Go ahead.
Okay, I had one more question is, when I've been posting on Instagram and then it says, to post it on my Facebook, at the same time, then when I've gone to my Facebook, then it shows it that it's friends only instead of public, and I can't find the setting to change that, or do you just have to always change it?
Is your Facebook and are your Facebook and Instagram public, or is one of them not public at all?
They're both public. I mean, I know Facebook is for sure. Maybe I don't know if I'm where do you do to find where it's public in Instagram?
Are you saying your Instagram or your Facebook is set to private? Which one?
I don't know how my Instagram is set, because I don't know. That's one thing I don't know. But when I post from Instagram and have it also post at the same time on Facebook, then when I've gone to my Facebook and seen those posts, then I realized that it was only posting to my friends.
Yeah, mine did that the other day. So we want our stories, Raylyn, to do the double work on stories. We want it to go from Instagram to Facebook, but on actual posts, it's recommended not to let your post from Instagram also post on Facebook. So I accidentally did that the other day. I posted something on Instagram and it had the toggle switch where it automatically went to my Facebook profile. When I went to my Facebook profile to look at it, it did the same thing. It wasn't public. It only showed that it was sharing with my friends. I just deleted that whole post completely off of Facebook because Facebook's algorithms don't really like shared from another platform. So I just deleted it and then copied and pasted from my Instagram post to Facebook on its own, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, so that doesn't, Facebook, so the algorithms are the issue if you do that, from Instagram there, so just copy paste. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah.
I have a question. How do you know when your story has been swiped? How is that visible to you? 'Cause I'm there, but I don't see if I got, just skipped over.
Gotcha.
The people at the bottom, the little pictures of the people's faces, if you click on that, it's going to pull up all of the people that have seen that post, okay?
All right.
And then if you click on the top, you see there's a little bar graph.
Yes.
You click on that little bar graph, and it tells you there were 66 accounts reached with this story. It shows you the impressions. There were 76 impressions. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I don't know the terms technically. But you can see how many under the navigation part, how many went back to look at the story again, how many clicked forward, and how many swiped to skip you, how many went to the next story, and how many actually exited that story.
Do we have
see all that?
Yeah. Do we have that information on Facebook too, or just on Instagram?
I'm not sure about what Facebook looks like. Let's look at it. So you can only see viewers on Facebook, I believe.
Okay.
You can only see who's viewed it. It doesn't show you the insight like Instagram does.
Okay. Thank you.
That's why I was telling Shireen the other day, I don't know if this adds value to you guys or not, but especially if you're new to stories and you just start posting on stories, give yourself 2 to 3 weeks of consistent posting. After 2 to 3 weeks, you'll have an idea of who is watching every single one of your stories. So you'll start to have an idea, like you'll just kind of watching, just keep in your head, or you can even keep a piece of paper if you want, like, oh, Cindy Lou Who, watched my story every single day for the last, I don't know, I couldn't think of a better name, the last 2 to 3 weeks, right? And then you'll have an idea, she's engaged with my post, she's engaged with what I do. So at that point, like I said, give yourself 2 to 3 weeks. After the 3rd week part, like 3 weeks, if that same person is still watching, that's when I would shoot them a message and say something like, hey, I saw that you've been watching all my stories. Thank you so much for the support on my stories. Like, what part of my story spoke the most to you? Or do you currently know anybody that's like looking for health or chasing health? So that's a good way to do that. I wouldn't do that right away though, if you're new to posting stories, because you don't yet know who's just curious and who's actually watching everything that you post. That way, you know, so just give yourself a couple of weeks of consistency with stories before you start really seeing what your following's like.
Hey, I had a question about that, Emily. I'd never reach out to anybody that's liked the comment or liked the post or watched my story. Do you have great success with that? Like with enrolling clients from those conversations of people that are watching you? Because I've never done it before. Like I've never reached out and said, thank you for liking my post or thank you for liking my story. I've never done that before. So if you're getting great value and getting a good response, I want to start doing that because that's just more reach out. But are you having great success with that when you reach out saying thank you for liking my story?
I personally have. I can see other people shaking their head. Chris is shaking his head. Different people are shaking their head, but especially on Instagram, I'm always watching on Instagram personally. And when I have reached out to the people, usually I get the same response, which is always like, thank you so much for reaching out. I love your posts. Something like, I hear a lot like, I don't think I can afford your program, but I'm still watching. When I'm interested, I'll let you know. Like, and then I have signed on clients who have consistently watched me, and they normally always get back to me. They don't ghost me usually. They get back to me with either like, love watching your stories, I'm on my own journey. You know, so it does open up a conversation, but I've probably signed on 5 clients in the last 3 or 4 months that I've seen watch my stories that I reached out to.
Sweet. That's good to know because I had never done that, but I think I'm going to start today.
Emily, can you give a quick like script again of what you say so that we can?
Sure. I mean, I could even write it down if you want, but I'll typically reach out after I know they've been consistently watching my stories for at least 3 to 4 weeks. And I just say like, hey, you know, Susie, I saw that you've been watching all of my stories. Thank you so much for the support. You know how excited I am about my health journey and the way that I have been able to help so many other people. I love seeing your, usually I'm talking to women, but Orlando, you can say this. I love seeing your beautiful face on, you know, my stories when I go to look at who's watching. Do you happen to know of anybody that you think that I could really help? Or, you know, are you interested yourself in what I have to offer? I try to be careful with my words. So usually what I'll say is, do you know of anybody that is interested or could be interested in what it is that I have to offer? And typically I get the response back, yes, I'm interested, which is why I've been watching, but I'm not ready yet. Or, but I can't afford your program, but there's a lot of but, and then that's when I just kind of continue the conversation with like, hey, would you be open to having an open conversation about it? So I'm really nice at first and I like confirm them and tell them they're awesome. And then I get direct, hey, do you know anybody? You know?
Can I ask a question? So the stories, how you say that you want to track them, they're like 24 hours and then they go away. Once they go away, can you ever see it again? Like, so you can check again, like if you don't remember who was following to compare it, like where do they go away completely, or is there a reserve somewhere in Storyland that you can pull them up?
I was actually just looking at that same thing, Annie, because of what Annie Caldwell asked just a minute ago. Mm-hmm. So when you're looking at the bar graph of your interactions and things, there's a download button in the top where you can save that. It doesn't, it just shows you like your interactions and things. There's that down arrow at the top. If you're looking at that, you can kind of save that and see what your interactions were on that specific story.
So you can either save it to like your bar up front where people have the little story things, or you can save it in private, right?
It just saves for you. Yes.
Okay.
And then also in the little gear button at the top of when you're looking at your stories and interactions, it gives you some options there. Some people want to save all their stories to their gallery because they know it's going to go away after 24 hours, but they may want to use that same story a year later or 6 months later. So you can actually make it to where it saves to your gallery or saves to an archive as well.
All right, thank you.
Kyla, what are you looking at? Is that in Facebook or Instagram?
That's in Instagram.
The screen you just showed. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so yes, I'm in Instagram. I went to my story that I recently posted, and I clicked on the people at the bottom. So you can toggle from who viewed your post to the little bar graph that's next to the number at the top here. And when you click on that bar graph, it takes you to that interaction type of screen. Do you see that, Gina?
Mine looks totally different. So
is yours, Kylea, is yours set on business or a regular? I
think it's a business account.
Yeah, yours is a business account, and that's why, Gina, you can't see it, because one of my life coaching is on as business, set as business, and it has different formatting and settings as my personal one.
Good to know. Okay, thank you.
So, but here's a way that you can look for it I think whether you have it set as business or not. If you go to your home page, so this is where your little bio is, and then they call it the little hamburger up on the top, the 3 lines. If you go to there and press archive, which is the second one, it shows you all of your stories that you've posted. The great part is, if you're like, man, like right now, I just messaged my former roommate. When Kylea and I were on live, she was like, tell me about your program. I was like, excuse me? So I can look back, and she liked the last message I did. And then I'm going to look back. So when you're on the archive and you click on, this is my last one. And then if I scroll, the other way. If I scroll, then it'll show me the one before and the post before and the post before, and then it'll tell me just more, we can use that for more information. But there is an archive, so just say you want to save some space on your phone, you can totally do that. But that's just another place to see what's there.
Let me give an easier idea that might work for you guys. Just another tip that I have. So when you post to stories, I would encourage you guys to never just post one story. Because if you post just one story a day, let's say, and it's just like a screenshot or you having fun or whatever, you don't know who's engaged with that post. It could be somebody that clicks on your face because they're interested in you, or it could be somebody that's simply going through their stories and they happened upon your face. You don't know if they're engaged with you or not. So best thing that you can do when it comes to stories, I would say if you can, try to post like 6 a day, and they can all be in a row. So here's an example. If I know I'm going to post a transformation story, let's say, on my stories, I don't just post one picture with the wording on top of it. I take little bits of the stories to make it go over 6 slides. So I'll post the same picture 6 times, but then post little bits of her story or his story all the way through over 6 slides. Because what that tells me, because remember that everybody's got a attention span of a goldfish, right? So if they've only got a 15-second attention span, if they're not interested in what it is that you're doing, they're going to click off of you and go to somebody else. But if you see the same person watching every single one of your stories through and their face is showing up on all 6 of them, then you know that they're engaged with your post. And you're only going to be able to see that if you post at least 6 so that you can see who's watching every single post. Then you're like, okay, they're interested, they're engaged because they're not clicking off of my face. Does that make sense?
I have a question. So that totally makes sense, but how do you see again, Emily, who is watching it? I missed that. I was trying to find my story.
Are you talking Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram, isn't that what you were just talking about?
Both. Both are the same. Yep. Instagram is the easiest place to post to then share on Facebook too. So your Facebook should be full of posts.
Yeah. Okay.
So for instance, I posted yesterday a bunch of my face talking. I do that a lot because it helps me to see who's engaged. So when I go down here, can you guys see this okay? And I swipe up, it tells me all the people that are watching. But here's the cool thing about Instagram. The people that watch my posts all the way through are going to show up at the top, right? So they show up at the top. So I know my friend Stephanie Dwyer, for instance, watched my stories all the way through because she's the first name on the list.
I get that part, but I don't know how to get to who saw it. I cannot find that. Who saw my story?
That's what I'm talking about. This is
Yeah, but
your story.
If you
but
go
I'm not getting a list.
So click
So
in
either nobody's watching me.
click in your story. Are you on Instagram?
Uh-huh.
Did you post a story yesterday?
No, I just posted one now. So
Okay.
it just goes away.
If you posted one now, click on your face. Do you see your story?
No, I'm sorry. I don't know where I'm supposed to be. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. So yeah, you're just gonna click on your face. When you click on your face, your story is gonna pop up. I'm holding it down so it doesn't disappear. So maybe give yourself, I don't know, 30 minutes before you try this again to see if people are watching. Then once you're on the story, you're gonna swipe up. If you have no one that's seen it yet, it'll say no one has seen this yet. If you have people that have seen it, then you'll see all of their faces and it'll show you who's seen your post.
I just went and watched your story, Tracy, so it should generate at some point that I watched your story.
Okay.
Yeah. And just let us know if you can't figure it out.
Tracy, one of your girls can show you.
Well, we are almost at the hour. And so these are all amazing questions. And I know that Lori's got some ideas coming up for the future. So we'll pass it back to you, Lori.
All right, cool. Thank you so much, ladies. Rocio, thank you for that awesome PowerPoint. I learned so much. And just thank you for Kylea and Emily. You guys are just so filled with knowledge. I guess what we'd like to do is maybe if you guys want to just throw in the chat right now for the next couple of minutes, like what else do you want to learn, just so we can kind of have an idea for future. I was kind of thinking like it's going to open up a whole new can of worms, but I kind of want to know if anybody knows LinkedIn, getting our profile set up on LinkedIn. I think that might be something cool too to set up. Does anybody here like really, really good at setting that all up? Anybody?
I have one, but
I have one,
maybe
but
we
I
can
don't
find
know
a
the
pro.
first thing about it either.
Yeah, because I was just thinking like, I don't know that we need to actually work that, but it might be nice to just all set our profiles in there, because I think that is a good thing to do. But anyway, that's opening up a whole nother can of worms. But why don't you guys, is anybody putting anything in the chat? I'd like to, maybe we can move forward with either, I'll let you know what's coming up for this next Friday. I might, maybe we could do the entire team maybe once a month. I'd like to start doing some leadership training on Fridays as well for like executive directors and above, FIBCs, things like that. So maybe we'll open up to the entire team maybe once a month, and then throughout the weeks, it'll be qualified trainings for executive directors and then also FIBCs and above. So gets everybody something to shoot for to get more additional training. And then, but we'll be in the loop. We'll let you guys know. A couple things too, I just wanted to bring to your attention. I'm gonna be shutting down the formally the business momentum message thread that I called Team Dufresne. I'm going to be shutting that down. So if you guys can all remove yourself from the thread, just because people are getting really confused as to how many threads that there are. I wanted to keep it open a little bit after momentum, because you guys were all in momentum together as a team. So if you could go in there and remove yourself, I'll probably be shutting that down today. And then let's see what else. I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for just all of your knowledge that you're sharing with us. And then we'll be in touch soon, guys.
Hey, Lori?
Yeah.
I have a quick question, or maybe some clarity on the messenger threads. What would you prefer for us to do? Like if somebody is needing a document, are you wanting us to go on the Facebook page and asking for the document there so it's accessible there instead of asking in the threads? Because I see a lot of people asking.
Yeah. I think we're going to try to just funnel every single person to be utilizing the Dufresne support thread. And that way everything is going through there. There is going to be a couple separate leadership threads that we do have and that are going to really, the reason that those threads are there are more for info, you know, so like so people aren't like scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And this team has got some amazing team synergy that everyone gets so excited about, the love, the excitement, the this, the that, the hearts, the thumbs ups. But we want to make sure that we keep everything, let's keep all that action in the Dufresne Coach Support Group page, because we want all of our coaches to feel that family support as well. And then, yes, so we're going to be using our support threads more just like as an info hub, kind of like Brad did with the time to serve, where it's just more outgoing information instead of all the team's energy. We'll keep that in the support group. Does that answer your question? Okay, awesome. We'll probably—
Don't worry, I had something that Orlando just reminded me about. I've had a few people reach out and ask if like I know how to do the Zoom interview to Facebook Live. And that was something that I'd had a few people ask about how to do, you know, or a training on that at some point.
That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. Let me see what we're going to do for next Friday, because I know everybody's schedules are super, super like busy and we don't want to take people away for too much. It'll either be a leadership training next Friday, or it'll be another group. But let me just wrap my head around the calendar and what we can do and provide. So, because I know you guys have been putting a lot of, you know, extra time into planning for these, and you're all leading your teams, and we just, you know, on behalf of the entire team, thank you for the time and energy that you poured in. So thank you guys very much. All right, guys. So have a great rest of your day. Thank you and love you all. See you later, guys.
Thank you, ladies.